Hello and welcome back to season 3 of The Practice Odyssey.
Yes, indeed.
This is Alex.
And this is Jen. And it's good to be back. Where has 2020 gone?
Not very far, thanks to Corona. So
No one has gone very far.
Where are you, Jen?
I'm still in Cambodia because I can't leave.
I can't believe that. Yeah, and I'm still here in Germany. All of my holiday has been canceled. However, I have discovered that Germany is quite a beautiful country. Not that I didn't know that before.
That is true.
But yes.
I also discovered that Cambodia is also very beautiful. I knew that already, but now I know it even more.
So listeners, today we come to you with our summer project update and our results. In a way, results?
Yeah.
Our findings?
Our findings.
So this summer, Jen and I, we worked through the Beatbox Flute Method book, Volume 1, by the world-famous beatboxer, Greg Pattillo.
I know. I was looking him up the other day, and what is
yes?
he's lauded as the man best in the world at what he does.
So we worked over the summer on our beatboxing flute. Do you know much about Greg Pattillo, Jen? Or should I explain a little bit about his life?
Well, apart from being the best in the world at what he does, I don't really know much about him at all. No. So please,
Yes.
elaborate.
Yes, of course. So Greg Pattillo was born on July 1st, 1977 in Seattle, Washington. Great city, great state. Love the coffee there. He studied at the Cleveland Institute of Music with world-renowned flautist Joshua Smith. And after performing orchestrally for a few years, Greg's beatboxing videos went viral on YouTube in 2006. Although he has gained notoriety from his beatboxing, he is also a fantastic arranger and composer who uses jazz and hip-hop elements in his music. And he is currently performing with his group Project Trio based out of Brooklyn, New York. Beatbox Flute Method Book 1 was released in 2019 and is supplemented by Greg's Patreon page with videos of various exercises used in the book to help learners. And, as I learned in a podcast recently, which we'll include in the show notes, he has plans to release at least 2 more volumes, which is great. I mean, I had thought that maybe he would write another one since this is volume 1.
Yes, I was wondering about that.
I'm very excited that we have 2 more in the works. Yeah,
I
right?
was sitting there going, wait, where's volume 2 and 3? Although, I guess I should hold that, considering I'm still working on volume 1.
Spoilers, Jay.
Oh, no.
We don't know. So that's a little bit about Greg. What was the breakdown of what we were doing over the summer holidays?
Well, the aim was to become experts at beatbox fluting. That was the aim. I don't think that was the aim because it's not very realistic. He starts off in his first paragraph. It's good to start with clear expectations and goals, which is good for acquiring new skills. That is true. Anyway, so...
I think we just wanted to see if we could reasonably beatbox after one summer.
We did. We wanted to see at all if, how our beatboxing would improve. So we did want to be able to, I wanted to be able to somewhat begin to beatbox flute by the end of the holidays. That was my goal. And how he does that is he's got his book and he's got 5 elements in the book. So first, he's got basic beatboxing, so the beats and how you string them together. Then he's got a section for exercises, combining it with the flute. Then combination patterns to play over is number 3. And then 4 teaches you how to learn how to build patterns to go under the flute melodies. And then 5, it teaches you the reverse, so creating melodies to play over existing beats. So that's the idea that he doesn't really want you to learn pieces. I think the idea is he wants you to build skills so that you can do your own improvising of beatbox flute without actually following music.
Yeah, that's the impression I got too. To like help improve your improvisation skills.
So that was pretty cool.
Because that's where beatboxing comes from. So
exactly.
Kind of chilling with your mates and playing beatbox tunes.
Indeed.
And having a good old time.
Anyway, so that was That was our mission this holiday.
So let's start, Jen, maybe with a quick recap for our listeners about our first week. So this was back at the beginning of the summer. We had just finished our first week of beatbox sounds. So if you want, I can play that sound for us now, and we can reflect. So here was Jen's first week after beatboxing.
We have just finished week 1 of the beatboxing epic. Anyway, so I'm coming at this completely fresh, new. It's been a learning curve this week. 2 major things have really emerged. Chronic hyperventilation is a big one. I don't know quite how I'm going to get around that, but oh my gosh, I don't think it's got this bad since I first started learning the flute. You know, when you're a newbie and it's like you just get so dizzy because you've been breathing so hard. Yeah, no, train that out of yourself. And then it's come back again with a vengeance. Yes. So hyperventilation, particularly with the semiquavers all at once, and keeping the patterns going for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, where did you start? And so did you start with the tss, or did you start with the sounds?
No. I've just been working on the sounds. And getting them solid. Like, especially the in-breath for me is quite hard.
Yeah, the in-breath is really hard. Okay, so that's exercise C.
Yes, that's exercise C. So I've been working on that. That isn't so bad. I'm kind of comfortable with that. That is not where the issues are coming. It's very much in the sounds. Because not only do I have a problem with chronic hyperventilation in those sections, but also an excess of spit. I don't know quite what you could recommend to fix this, but geez Louise, maybe if I don't eat for 24 hours before I practice, maybe this will be better.
So your
you
week
find your
1 is
physics?
hyperventilating and spit. So.
lots of both, yes. Yes.
All right. So, Jen, week 1, hyperventilating and spit. How's it going since then?
I can't say it's got much better, actually. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Well, I think my stamina has improved. It has improved. I can see that it's improved. But still, the problem is I'm very much more comfortable with the exhaling sounds, not the inhaling sounds. That's where I really get tangled up. So for those who don't know about the methodology with the beatboxing that Greg teaches, it's you have sounds which you can make as you exhale air across the flute, away from the flute or into the flute, and you have sounds, the same kind of sounds, except you make them as you're pulling air into your mouth, inhaling. Those are the ones which I get really tangled up in. I think it's like that trick of where you pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. I seem to have a coordination issue with that.
Well, and also, like, we always have to, as flutists, we're sort of trained early on to make sure our inhales are just as quiet as possible. And now Greg in this book is like, actually, why can't you make it part of the music, you know, and like make it like a loud inhale sound and like actually make varieties of that sound, but then also adding in the tongue sometimes to like get the inhaled K sound that he discusses.
Exactly. Oh, that one is my nemesis, Alex. The inhaled K sound. I still can't get it. Anyway, one day.
I know, mine still sounds a little like Darth Vader, but
one day.
Oh gosh. Yeah, not bad. Now I just want more coffee.
Yeah, it's the at the beginning, which is the issue. The spit. I guess the spit's getting okay if I just don't drink water before I practice for a little while. Then we're okay, and definitely don't eat for a little while. So I leave it to the end of my practice session, which has been a little while since I've eaten something, so generally less fit. So I have become wiser with my placement of when to practice beatboxing in the day. So that was my takeaway from week one. Oh, week one. It was so far away. How was it? Let's shall we listen back to your week one?
Oh, yes, let's expose me, please. Okay.
Yes. How was your first week?
So my first week, I focused, so for like exercise A and B, that's where I spent a lot of my time focusing, because I was really struggling with getting the lower sound and the upper beat, so the and the sounds separated, so it sounds like an octave. Yeah. So I didn't get so far. You got much farther than I did, because like I was just doing that a whole bunch. His video, I found it really helpful, especially the first one as well. And he just does the sound over and over again and flashes the words of like how to fix it. And he's like, don't do this. And then we'll like show you like what you're not supposed to do. And like, he's like, instead do this. And also on his Patreon, he also says if you're having issues, like shoot him like a little video message of like you doing it and what your issue is. And he can offer you help.
What do you think he'd say about excess spit?
Yeah, so speaking of spit, I was I've got a nice little voice memo I did too. But like I was asking Marco like, can you hear that it's like an octave almost, like not an exact octave, but like does it sound? And I was just doing this like to my computer, and he was like, maybe don't do it near your computer because you're gonna get spit all over. And I was like, no, I've been working on this. I don't have spit. And then he dimmed the screen. I was called out. I'm so bad.
I feel like this is going to be a pattern over the next... We're going to have to just practice in the bathroom or a wet room to somewhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
So yeah, my week one was also full of spit and focused on endurance and my boots octave.
Oh, your boots, boots octave.
I don't know if I can do it on command though. And the
that's a very noticeable too. That's impressive. Nice.
Oh, thanks, man. But yes, I was struggling also with the endurance and getting those muscles up to snuff, like getting them all going quite well. So that is, pretty tricky.
Yeah, you can't rush that, can you?
But I would like to give our listeners, like Greg Pattillo's Patreon page is so helpful for this. It was just like having a teacher who would teach you from your home and during the times of Corona.
Yeah,
so
really good.
I would put on one of his videos, watch it through, and maybe do some of it with him as well, like he recommends, but not facing my computer anymore, as my husband recognized. I didn't want to clean my screen anymore. And so, but yeah, and then I would play along with him and then go off and do some more practice on my own as well.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was pretty useful.
Yeah.
So that was the end of our week one.
Week one, yeah.
So Jen, should we listen to how your week two went? Or sorry, so week two, we did our own thing, and then we met back up for a quick rendezvous for week three to touch base on like how that was going at this point. We did.
Yeah,
so
let's have a listen. Oh, week three, Alex.
We did it, week three.
Week three, we have done it.
So, Jen, how was your week three?
My week three. Week three was the week of stamina.
Ooh,
I know.
Please elaborate.
Basically, I was trying to do the vamps to pop songs, as he suggests. Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely a messy, and I get tired very, very. Am I alone in this? But especially with the sounds, after doing them for quite a few times in a row, does your nose also get itchy? Or is that just me?
Oh my gosh.
I think it's the vibrations. It makes my nose insanely itchy.
No, I do get itchy in general. I don't know if I've noticed it being just like, I think it's similar to like when you're biking a whole bunch, or maybe you're you're like a super biker, so maybe this isn't as much of a problem, but when I bike for a long period of time. Your hands get
really,
your hands also
and
get
your arms,
itchy.
they go like red and itchy. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's the same thing. Maybe like our arms and like muscles are just
super like are being super activated.
Yeah. So that was experience number 1, and experience number 2 of week 3 was I did find that you know how he says at the beginning of the book when he's talking about making the sound, it's important to have the open throat. It made me like really aware of keeping the throat really relaxed, and I've noticed that in my playing I'm also becoming more aware of when my throat is getting tighter and when it shouldn't be, you know.
Yeah,
So-
because with this you get so exhausted right away. If it's really holding tension, you have to really, or at least for me, I've noticed I really have to, be very aware of it and keep it relaxed so that the endurance continues.
Yeah.
It's similar to like trying to run with like super tense muscles.
Exactly. And then I've been noticing that also rolling over into my flute playing as well. It's made me kind of pretty aware about like, hey, I'm holding tension here in an unnecessary manner. Yeah, weirdly, the throat thing, yes, in some ways with the I think because by that point I was only in the exhalation sounds. So yeah, your throat had to be very relaxed, especially to get the resonance for the sound. And but I think because I think that's where I find it really tricky with the inhalation sounds, because then all of a sudden things are getting very different to what we've kind of been trained to do with classical flute playing, as you said. So yeah, definitely the exhalation helps with the awareness of throat.
Are your muscles still tingling?
No, it definitely takes a little less time to kick in the itchy nose, but I still do get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Although it's helped now that I'm not just doing. Sometimes I can get some vamps going which don't just include the one sound of the for ages and ages and ages. I'm also doing the other sounds. I think this relieves the intensity. Of the nose vibrations. So now that I'm not doing like full on one whole song of just practicing my my bass drum sound, I think it's made it a little bit less intense. But it was that was pretty funny. I had a very eventful first 3 weeks, didn't I? Let's have a listen to your week.
Okay, so here's my week 3.
Week I started on the vamps through the book. I've made it so far to D, E, F, and I've started G now. This like a little bit further, where you just like added notes. But I'm kind of spending a little more time on those because it kind of breaks down to the same concepts, just to like various rhythms.
Yeah.
And I some takeaways. First off, these are amazing rhythm lists. I could use this so much just for like practicing rhythms on technical passages and using that for my students as well. Like he's got some amazing ones.
Yeah.
So that was amazing or great. For people, I think I mentioned this maybe in week 1, but on Patreon to view all of the videos, because I follow along. I've been following along with him on his videos.
Yeah.
On Patreon.
Yeah.
And I find that super helpful because then I just set it up and I go.
Yeah.
I'm still doing his little exercises every day as like a nice way to like start my day, and it really gets me breathing. Like it's 5 minutes. I just turn on the video, go through it, and then like I'm feeling pretty good, and then it kind of sets my brain where it wants to think in all day.
Yeah.
So then I hear it whenever I'm practicing other things as well. So continuing with my practice to build the endurance, and have been working up my vamps. So my goal for next week is to be finished with the vamps, hopefully through J, and then maybe start introducing the scales. I'm not sure. We'll see how far I get.
Yeah, so week 3, I was powering through, very determined to get my beatboxing chops back up.
It was a very,
I have to say,
productive week.
It was a very good. It was very productive, especially as you will hear about the rest of my weeks. But yeah, it was good, and I still do the little sounds at the beginning of my practice. I usually put on like a pop song or something, or some song, or he recommends a few times putting on some like beats in the background and just like beatboxing with that instead of a metronome. So I've done that a few times too. But yeah, I do find that like my breath intake and outtake is a lot more natural, or at least for me, like when I first start practicing, usually the breath is the hardest thing to get like normalized.
No,
I don't know why, because we
absolutely.
breathe every day, but
Not
just,
so
you know,
deeply
getting it-
though. Yeah.
that's very true. Yeah, and making sure it's more of a instead of sound. So yeah, so I find that really helps me. So usually I'll do a little bit of beat. I was doing and still am like a bit of like vamps and sounds at the beginning of my practice, and then at the end I do the beatboxing too, and in the middle I do some other stuff. But yeah, so that's the end of my week 3. But yeah, so then that leads us to the weeks in between. And Jen, if I remember correctly, you were okay. So this is our summer project. Even though we love summer projects, we also enjoy our summers.
We do. We do have a
Although,
holiday.
is it summer? Is it summer right now in Phnom Penh? You're in the northern hemisphere, so it's still summer. Or
Yes,
are
we
y'all
are
in
in
the
the
southern. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're in the northern hemisphere, so yes, it is summer, but summer looks a little bit different here in that it's the rainy season. So
That's right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
it rains a lot, but it's also hot. But then it's always hot. But it's a little less hot than it is in May and April.
Yeah.
Because it rains a lot. And that's really summer holidays in Cambodia is a heck of a lot of rain. It will rain every day when it's in height of rainy season, very strongly.
So you had rainy season, and you were in the jungle for a bit.
Yes, yeah. So we went on a bit of a grand tour of Cambodia because we couldn't leave, as most people can't at this time. It's a little tricky to travel around with quarantines.
Yeah, and people can't come in very easily.
No.
Either, if I remember correctly. So.
Yeah, well, it's got a bit easier, but you still do have to quarantine for 2 weeks as it stands at the moment. It just means if we went travelling, we'd probably spend half of our holiday sitting in a hotel room quarantining. So we thought, maybe we won't do that. So yes, we went on a big trip. We went to the jungles, Cardamom Mountains. I love that name. It's a very good name. The Cardamom Mountains, so we went there, and then we went down to the ocean, and then we went up to the temples of Angkor Wat, which are amazing and very empty.
You didn't see many. I can't believe that. Still,
They are extraordinarily empty. I think we were at Angkor Wat with 20 other people, which is unheard of. Normally, you're there with a cast of thousands.
Oh yeah, I can post a photo to my Instagram for any interested listeners. It's great. We have a beautiful picture Marco took, my husband, of the sunrise, and it's very magical. And there's not a single person in the shot. And you just turn like 2 feet, and it's just hordes of people. And it was one of those things where like, well, we really want to see the sunrise at Angkor Wat because it's just one of those things in life that is just, and it was magical. But then also you're there sharing that moment with like hundreds of other people.
Literally hundreds of other people, yeah.
Which for me, being extroverted and okay with people, and this was before coronavirus was a thing, I thought it was kind of magical that so many people were there, and it wasn't super loud as well. It was kind of like everyone was talking in hushed tones and like watching this beautiful sunrise. So, I mean, I know it's like, okay, this isn't great that maybe so many people are here, but also that so many people are like wondering at this beautiful moment. I just thought that was kind of cool too. But for my introverted husband and sister, it was not so much.
Yeah, it was not the best. Well, they would have loved it because there was no one there. But so it was very nice. But I did practice a little bit of beatboxing, but it was rather haphazard, I must confess.
Okay. So how was your beatboxing? So you had this amazing vacation, summer break.
I did.
I think you even did a concert or two within that time.
I did a choir concert, yes. Social distancing, quite very odd. But I think all concerts are going to be a little bit odd at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. How was the beatboxing in lieu of having all of these other things that you had to do? So
well, yes, there were some weeks when it was a little bit more miss than hit. But what am I? I think I agree. Like I found the videos very helpful. Once I got into the video, I mean, so I started with his YouTube videos and then found my way. I think because you told me the Patreon video quicker, and I found it really, and like you said, I found it really helpful with his exercises, and you play along, and you could hear what he was doing and see what he was doing as well, like the way he turns to the camera, and like so you can see his profile, and you can also see what he's doing face on. Yeah, very really, really good, especially combining the sounds on the flute. When it got to the point of, okay, number one, basic beatbox. It was okay, except the inhaled, which were always rubbish, but we're getting there. Number two, combining with flute. I have to say, Alex, this is where I have stalled. I'm still on the combining with flute part. Like, I'm going through all those vamps and stuff throughout the book, but this is I'm still very much in this phase, and I think it's because like I'm starting from scratch, so it's taking me a bit of time to get the combination. Strangely, I find he writes in the book that the sound, making the sound with the flute is one of the harder ones to do, but actually I found it easier than trying to combine the sounds with the and I was trying to figure out why I had it reversed, and I think it was because the tss is primarily made with your tongue, that sound. Right. And so that comes quite naturally, manipulating the air while ignoring what my tongue is doing, whereas the coordination of trying to get my lips to make the pop sound, and then the also requires like your jaw to kind of come forward pretty aggressively, and and like it's a lot more lip manipulation to get that sound. I think those things kind of really
they're daunting.
They I think are taking my brain a little bit longer to wrap my head around. Also, I have to say, I don't have the motivation of a end of semester recital to really
that'll get you going for sure.
Make me knuckle down and practice like a lot on this every day. Like maybe I'm doing this for about 10 minutes every day. I'm not spending a huge amount of time on it, but
but that's also really good, like, especially if we look back on our book, the PDF that we read, the Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, you know, like you're building those neural pathways right now. And so so that'll make it a lot easier, like everything's slowly like, you know, falling into place, and then one day you'll just be like super beatboxer.
And I figure like once you get the beatbox and then you figure out how to combine it with the flute, like the rest of it, I reckon it will kind of snowball and get a lot faster. But then, I don't know. The bit which I found very easy was the vamping with the sounds, because I'm having jazz lessons at the moment. That's pretty much all we do in our lessons. So I'm having extra coaching. But what I loved in one of his one of the YouTube clips before I found his Patreon, he said it would just be really good. The best thing you can do is to go and hang out with a beatboxer. And so I was thinking, I don't know if I know anyone in Cambodia who beatboxes. If anyone's listening to this and are in Cambodia and beatbox, please contact me. That would be great. I would love to have a lesson.
Well, this is just Google pen on pen beatbox, and there is just
thousands.
There's a beatboxing Buddha.
There's a beatboxing Buddha? I'm sorry?
There is a beatboxing monk, and it's called Beatboxing for Buddha.
Beatboxing for
please
Buddha.
Go down this rabbit hole.
Where is he based? Does it say where he's based? In Phnom Penh?
It's 6 days ago. Beatboxing for Buddha, Japan Monks Outreach. Oh, that says Japan. Okay.
Hold on, what? He's from Japan? And he's in Cambodia?
Yes, I think.
That's amazing.
It's a whole article. I'll post it in the comments.
Clearly, I should have cast my net wider. I was just trying to think of my acquaintances who beatboxed. I should have gone wider to Buddhist monks.
Yeah, to Buddhist monks who beatboxed.
Why did I not think of that, Alex? Why?
I know. Why was that the first thing that came to your mind?
I don't know. I have such a narrow worldview, clearly. Oh, no. Okay. Well, there we go. That's kind of where I'm at after our first 3 weeks till now of the thing. I'm kind of, I'm chugging away at the bass etude. I am toying. Well, I'm just, chugging away.
No.
Bit by bit.
Chugging away.
Bit by bit. Yeah. Anyway, how have your remaining, what were they, 3 weeks? Remaining 3 weeks? I believe you had
something like 3
significant
weeks.
events during that time?
While Jen was traversing the Cambodian countryside and doing some cool Corona distancing concerts, I was stuck in my room here trying to study for this German test so that I can hopefully begin something in the fall if everything works out well. I'll keep you updated, listeners, if it all goes well. But, you know, as musicians, and who knows? And it's quite difficult because, for this German test, you basically, in the test, you have to be able to discuss, read, and answer questions about scientific texts in German. So it's very much like the highest form of German that they have. And it's not really spoken here on a day-to-day basis. So nobody uses it outside of the academic world.
Oh my gosh, Alex.
In academia, it's great. But when you're not in academia, everyone thinks that you're just very fancy. So I've been talking and writing.
But you are fancy.
I'm very fancy, yes. But yes, so that's been, so to do that, it's been always a constant battle of how much do I want to use this in the outside world, and how much do I just need to like get out of the house and not just like listen and read scientific texts all day. So that's what I've been up to for the last few weeks, alongside of doing my beatboxing. However, I did notice that because the majority of my time was focused solely on this test, my zeal or my wanting to do something creatively was very much strengthened. So when I practiced, I was just like, finally something creative. I mean, you know, I can only be so creative while reading scientific texts and responding to them. I always try, but, you know, it was like only a certain amount.
I guess in that, that's a kind of a right and wrong kind of situation, I guess you would find yourself in.
Yeah, exactly. So, so then I decided I work best with a goal set. So if I don't have a goal, I kind of meander around, and then I don't do very well. So, and since I had this test, I was like, okay, so before I want to, for the next few weeks, I really want to get down at least one of his etudes, because he has etudes in the book. So I think at this point I had realized to really get a good understanding of the book at the speed that I was going, I would not finish it this summer, which we kind of accepted. You know, it's a summer project.
Yeah. So, it's a whole methodology.
Exactly, yes. So I decided I really wanted to get to at least the garden beats, or as I call them quite often, the backyard beats. But yeah, so that was my goal. So I set that for myself and kind of cooked through the other exercises in the books that he has, like with the scales and reintroducing, or for me, it was reintroducing the flute and the sound at the same time, which, it's really hard.
It's really hard.
Especially after not doing it for so long.
I find it really hard,
Yeah, so that was fun. I watched his video and did it a few times. And that went pretty well. I found the videos, again, super helpful. And I also like that that Greg also puts a focus on intonation. So he's like, you should do these different like beats and exhales on scales, and always like keep in mind with the tuner, because you have so much else going on in our brain, like trying to get the muscle synchronization down. It's really easy to forget the other things like intonation, but if we do put a little bit of focus on that, then maybe it'll be better in the future. So I did that for a bit, and then I can gladly say I did manage to finish Garden Beats. So, and it sounds pretty good. I'm at about 110 or 120 beats per minute.
That's amazing.
Little backyard beats. But I thought it was really, it was a really great exercise, because for this etude, he introduces the idea of moving the flute so you don't have that breathy sound when you're beatboxing. Which I looked back at the one I did when I was finishing my master's, the 3 beats for Beatbox Flute. I don't think there was much of an emphasis, or you didn't have to know that skill to perform that piece. So, because I was like, why is this so hard? Because you have to move your flute so the tone hole is no longer there, but then get it back fast enough so that you can still play. And so I've been working on that coordination. It takes a while, and I have to say I don't get it perfect most of the time, but it's getting there.
So,
Yeah.
do you reckon we're in verdict territory?
I think we are coming up to verdict territory. So, Jen, how do you feel about the Beatbox Flute Method Book Volume 1?
Okay, I feel good. I feel like it's really comprehensive. I like the flow of how he's done the exercises and the descriptions and how he kind of builds up upon that to the point where I've got to. I mean, like, you know, I've looked through the rest of the book, but not in great detail. But up until where I've got to, like, the progression has made sense, and I can see how the skills are like building on top of each other like really well. My only thing is, as soon as you told me about those Patreon videos and I started watching them, it was 100 million times easier. I think it's, for me, it was just something I needed to be able to see and hear as I was doing it. And of course, I've seen beatboxing videos online, but generally these guys are so advanced that they're doing about 15 different sounds all in the space of 10 seconds. So it's kind of hard to separate what exactly they're doing because it's so fast. Whereas his videos where he breaks it down and he like shows you what to do and tells you what to watch out for. The videos I felt were like almost an essential element which needed to be added just because, of the way, especially the beatboxing, just because it's so different. I don't really have any reference point for what it should sound like or feel. Yeah. I mean, even if you just think about when we're looking at music on a page, that's really just the jumping off point, and the rest of it is stuff which we know or we've been taught about how to play it, and it's really just a tiny. You're just kind of seeing almost like a little framework of it, and it's up to you to kind of add all the color in. It's like there's what is that mindfulness coloring? We just have the outline, and then it's up to us to put all the colors in and the shade and turn it into a picture.
That's right. Yeah. So for you, it was great, but the videos were really helpful. So without the videos, it's very difficult. Or?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it was a bit different when I purchased the book because I'm in Cambodia. Sometimes the post can be a little bit unreliable, and sometimes not turn up.
Or because to pick up your mail at all, you have to go to this one place for the whole city, which is run by paper. Nothing is electronic. Yes. And there's a lady with a book.
There's a lady with a book. So I emailed him and he gave me a PDF copy, which was amazing. So now I've got my PDF copy. I would love that, I could buy it and then I would pay extra. I don't care. Like, I would pay extra so that I would also get like an automatic subscription to his Patreon account. And I can access all the videos as part of it. Like, it's just kind of combined, like automatically with the book. Then you get access to his Patreon account, where you can learn all of it. And then the exercises in the books are linked to the videos. Maybe that's happening with Method Book 2 and 3, or the revised edition. Okay, Alex, I guess that's the end of my verdict. Alex, what's your verdict on the process?
Okay, so my verdict, like you said, I found his method very approachable. Like he breaks it down very well. It's not too much all at once. So he starts, with like very easy things, and offers. Like we said, you can do it while listening to music and practice it that way. Yeah. So I really thought that was great. I like how he also incorporates technology, like you were saying, like into this method. Like, you have these videos, and I think it's a fantastic way to expand on these ideas, because without the videos, I think this would have been 10 times harder for me. Not because of the methodology, just because of it's something brand new, and we're brand new. I know it's been around for quite some time, but in the flute world, it's quite young. So, and to combine particularly. To combine it. And there's not many people out there who can do it so as well as Greg. I mean, he's phenomenal. So he is amazing. He's the pioneer.
That's why he's in the Lego movies.
He's in the Lego movies?
I'm pretty sure. I think he's in the soundtrack for one of the Lego movies.
Oh my gosh!
I was just Googling, and I googled Greg Greg Pattillo and the Lego movie came up.
Okay, so I think, for me, it was a great method. I highly recommend it, especially with the Patreon videos. And I just must say that Greg Pattillo was such a great advocate for beatbox flute playing.
Yep.
I mean, I would say it was and this is not Greg's fault or anything, but just with Patreon, to find the videos was a little annoying because every time I had to search for the video, it would be really nice to have like an overall, like just a list, like here is a list of the videos and you could just go through and tap on them as you need it. Because sometimes I would find one only to realize that there was another one posted that was actually the first one and I was watching the second. But again, that's not, that's just a problem with the platform itself. I don't think there's a way, because I was like, is there a way for me to find all these videos where they're just listed? And I did not see anything on Patreon.
No, I didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just a problem with the platform. But yeah, so for me, it's still on the stand.
Agreed. Also stays on the stand. Yeah, I think that takes up to the wrap up. Yeah, awesome. Verdict in, stays on the stand. All right. Well, welcome back to the Practice Odyssey again. It's good to have you back. This is the beginning of season 3. I feel it's going to be a great one. I mean, what a year we've had. Too. It can only be great. Please contact us. You can email us if you feel like telling us lots of information. I think I had a lot of questions for people to answer this time, definitely regarding beatboxing if you're in Phnom Penh. What was the other one, Alex? There were a few.
Yes, if you are a physio and you want to elaborate a little more on the itchy factor.
Yes, itchy, the itchy nose, that was another big question. We had a lot of burning questions, so clearly we need some answers. So if you could get back to us on thepracticeodyssey@gmail.com, that would be amazing. You can, of course, listen to this podcast on YouTube and any of the podcast platforms. Wherever and whenever. So at your convenience. What a service we have provided. The music for this episode was, of course, provided by the amazing Alex Woods. Who knows, maybe we will get a rearrangement of it beatboxing if I can get my act together. So maybe wait for that in 2022. And then, of course, our fantastic show art was by the marvellous Ivan Pottersmith. And thank you again for joining us. We will be back in a fortnight.
Thanks for listening. We are so glad that y'all tuned in to listen with us today. We look forward to, talking with y'all again in a fortnight.
Stay safe and well. This is goodbye from Jen.
And goodbye from Alex. Okay, bye.
Bye.